Hello and welcome to Chapter 8 Key Highlight Video Assessment, Understanding Problems and Strengths. Assessments, guys, isn't only about collecting data or the diagnoses or just collecting information about the client. Assessments are about understanding the client's issue or matter or problem so deeply or deeply enough that we know where to begin. The core message that I have for you guys in this chapter is assessment isn't simply identifying what is wrong, it's understanding what the problem means within the client's life. Assessment is meaning making. When we collect information from our clients, we're not just taking that information and sitting with it. We're interpreting that information that it's being shared with us. We truly understanding that the presenting problem isn't only the problem. We're looking at the problem from all aspects of the client's life. Okay, so we're looking to underneath the meaning underneath that presenting problem. For example, a client needed a placement in the emergency room at a rehab center. That's the presenting problem. But if the client wasn't living alone with no support, no caregiving services, no resources in place, the fall could have been prevented and patient could have still been living in the house, capable, independent. So the problem is completely always different than what's presented to us. Our role is to clarify what it means to the client and what it means to us as well. Now, assessments are ongoing because every time we meet with our clients, we get to learn a new information on them and new details has been added. We now learn about their coping skills in situations like that. So it's a dynamic document, always subject to change. Don't be rigid when you create your assessments, okay? Context matters. Why? Because we're looking into the problem and from underneath the reasoning behind that, we're looking at system, we're looking into the person in the environment. Not one aspect will impact the problem, but different aspects we're looking into family, relationship, culture, identity. Which one has been an asset? Which one created barriers? That's why context matter, because it changes the meaning of behavior as well. Strengths are essential. I can't, guys, really talk about that more. Strengths, always point out your client's patient's strengths because sometimes they just dismiss it or they're not aware even of it. To help them walk through that journey. It brings in a lot of insights, a lot of confidence when we let them know of the coping skills that they've been adapting even before they get to know us. Just for them to be in front of us on the chair, that meeting, it matters a whole lot. Bring that up to them because good assessment holds both the truths, the struggle and the resiliency. It's not just about the problem, but it's also the resiliency, their strengths. Client meaning shapes interventions. We wanted to make sure during our assessment that a client or the client understands their problem or what's their understanding of it. If they don't understand their problem, you're not going to see them motivated to change or motivated to seek solutions. So it's very important for them to understand that, or for us as a clinician to understand the client's understanding of the problem. Oh my gosh, it's a lot of understanding in this sentence. So an intervention may be clinically appropriate, but it still fail if it doesn't make sense to the client. And that's why exploring what it means very important with your client. Now, assessment requires clinical judgment. When we complete our assessments, I've mentioned before, I'm not sure which video that I've talked in about is, when you go into agencies, each place has its own assessment. Mostly the first initial, it's a biopsychosocial. It continues for the next few meetings is with a SOAP note, right? However, and we will talk more about documentation in future chapters as well, or in class for sure. Now, the biopsychosocial assessment in each practice from where I practiced When I was in pediatric hospice, my form was completely different. My assessment was completely different. Those are forms. Those forms doesn't matter without your critical judgment. We're not robots gathering information, plugging it in. We are making sense of it. We're critically thinking about the issue that's being presented to us. We pay attention to the narrative. We observe behavior. We collect information from collateral people, like people who's been in touch with the client, whether they're family member, friends, co-workers, whoever is available. We ask what's missing, because more information doesn't automatically create better understanding. It must be interpreted carefully. What do we do with that information that we gathered, right? That's what matters. Now, assessment guides intervention. The minute we have a great assessment where we fully understand the situation, interventions are easily to be applied. Strong assessment allows us to respond with both compassion and realism, because those interventions has to be realistic, guys. They have to. The final takeaway: with meaning, look beneath the presenting problem. Process we continue assess, because it's a dynamic document. It's a dynamic relationship. Context, understand the environment and the system, because that problem didn't exist out of its own or just based off of the individual. System has shaped it as well. Strengths, identify capacity. Client voice, respect it. Judgment, combine your tools with critical thinking. Don't just use tools by itself. Bring in your self to it, your spirit to it, your soul to it. That's what makes it alive. Now, the reflection questions that I leave you with for this chapter is: when you first hear a presenting problem, what do you notice first? The problem, emotions, environment, strengths, or risks? What might you miss by focusing mainly on the area or on one area? Assessment help us see the client fully, their problem, context, strengths, meaning, risks, and possibilities. When assessment is rushed or too narrow, everything that follows may become misaligned. So let's aim for an effective assessment. Thank you.